Hey everyone, welcome to lesson 3 of section 6. In this lesson we're taking a look at learning styles. Now there's not really a full lesson involved here, but I just wanted to tell you a little bit about learning styles. Learning styles is about finding out the best way for you to study. We're all individuals and we all like to study differently. Now we base learning styles on two different things. One is your personality, and the other is what we call a sensory preference. So sensory preference is either through tactile or hearing or sight. Now I just want to make this clear. We don't only learn via one method. So obviously you can learn hearing something and seeing something and being actively involved with something. However, we do have a personal preference in the way that we prefer to learn. And if you're learning the way you are enjoying it, then obviously learning is going to be easier. So with the sensory preference, all we're doing is we're taking a look at how you prefer to learn. It's not the only way that you can learn. So if you'd like to, you can go through all of the learning suggestions for the sensory preferences, and you can choose from all of them which methods you think that you would like best. The personality assessment is based on the Myers and Briggs personality test, and what it does is it breaks down your personality and works out the best way for you to study according to your personality. So for example, we take a look, you're either an introvert or you're an extrovert. If you're an extrovert, extroverts don't like to be held away from people and locked up in their room for hours on end. So with an extrovert, what we recommend is that an extrovert has shorter breaks and shorter study periods. So in other words, maybe you study rather for half an hour and have a 5-minute break. An introvert can sit in their room for hours on end. They love being on their own. So an introvert, we would say, rather have a 50-minute study session and a 10-minute break. Your study sessions land up being the same amount, but you're just breaking it up differently. Your personality has a big influence on what your preferences could be and the way your brain works in order for you to learn best. Hi everyone, and welcome to the video that is going to be explaining to you how to complete Learning Styles Quiz 1. In this video, we're simply going to be taking a look at how it is that you fill in the answer sheet, how you score it, and then also what it is that you do with your results at the end of it all. So let's get started. This first quiz tests your personality type, and you will notice that you have been given a set of statements. Each statement is divided up into two. So question 1 has given you two statements, 1A and 1B. For each of these statements, you need to indicate the following. If you take a look at the statement and it definitely does not describe you, you can give it a 0 or a 1. If the statement does not describe you, say, look, no, this is sort of not me, you're going to give it a 2. If the statement may describe you, if it's a little bit like you, you can give it a 3. And if the statement describes you, you give it a 4. So if this is like exactly this is me through and through, it gets a 4. And if the statement definitely describes you, there is no discrepancy, this is exactly what you are, you're going to give it a 5. Let's take a look at the actual quiz. This is your score sheet that you have been given. You'll notice that it is divided up into letters at the top, I, E, N, S, T, F, P, J. Don't worry too much about what all that means. We will explain to you exactly what those letters are. They're just different personality types. Please note with your scoring that your scoring goes from left to right, top to bottom. So if you take a look under the I, there's 1A. Under the E, there's 1B. Then under the N, there is 2A. And under the S, 2B. Then you go to the bottom. Under the T is 3A. Under the F is 3B, under the P is 4A, and under the J is 4B. Once again, you go up to the top where the I is to do number 5, and so on. So let's get started on the actual scoring. If you take a look at question 1, you take a look at the first statement, and if you look at the first statement and go, no, that's not me at all, you're going to give it a 1.
The catch here is that 1A and 1B need to add up to 5. So if you've given 1A 1, you have to give 1B 4. The same thing, we go on to number 2. You give it 3, you're like, oh yeah, no, this statement is pretty much me. But if I give 2A 3, I then have to give 2B 2 because they need to add up to 5. This is just part of the scoring system. It's just the way it works. So same thing. If I go and I give 3A a 5, I'm like, this is exactly describes me. If that gets a 5, obviously 3B needs to get a 0 because 5 plus 0 is 5. And the same thing, if you give it a 4, the other one then needs to get a 1. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to take a look at the I and the E, just so that you can see how we actually score it. If I have to go over all of them, you'll probably be falling asleep by the end of it, so let's not bore you to tears. So we answer 5A, 5B, 2, 3, and so on. And once you have completed all of it as follows, you can then start adding up your score. If you notice, if you add up all the I's, so 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 1 plus 0, it is going to give you 7. If you add up all the E's, you'll see that 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 4 plus 5 is going to give you 18. What you then do next is that you can circle the 18 because you know, okay, that is your highest score. You are then going to take the scores to the bottom table and fill the scores in at the bottom table. And once again, you're going to put a big circle around the E because that is your personality type. So you have got the personality type E. All right, you're going to do the same with the N and the S. And you are also going to do the same with the T and the F, and you're going to do the same with the P and the J. So all of those, exactly the same procedure as for the I and the E. All right, what do those letters mean? Basically, if you scored an I, you are an introvert. If you scored an E, you are an extrovert. If you scored an N, you're an intuitive personality. If you scored an S, you are a sensing personality. T is thinking, F is feeling, P is perceiving, and J is judging. You then need to find your learning preference sheet in accordance to how you scored. So for example, if you scored an E, meaning you have an extrovert personality, you then need to go and find the sheet that has got the learning suggestions for your extroverted personality. You can then take the sheet, you can highlight, or you can take out and write down somewhere all the learning suggestions that you think would make your learning routine a much happier place. Guys, that is the end. Very, very easy. If by any chance you have got any questions, or if you're a little bit confused as to how to score this test, please feel free to contact me and I will give you a further explanation.